Welcome to Phil Wilson Chats with Celebrities. And here's your host, Phil Wilson.
Following a string of chart-topping hits and international success, genre-blending artist Qymira has released her highly anticipated single, Labyrinth of Life, the Eddie Craig remix on Queer Media. With rave reviews from Wonderland, Rap Star News and Honk Magazine, Qymira looks set for more heights this year. And Qymira joins us now. How are you doing, Qymira?
Oh my goodness, what an introduction, Phil. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem at all, and it's all true there. Yes, I've seen all of the reviews there, and they are absolutely glittering reviews as well.
I'm speechless. I'm still speechless about those reviews. You know, I can't believe it, but it's very, very grateful.
Yes, I bet. Now, for listeners just finding your music, please can you tell us when it all began for you?
So it began when I was a crazy little toddler that literally was like toddling all over the place because my mum was a piano teacher. And so, and I'm the youngest of 5. And so every day in, day out, I'm listening to my brothers and sisters playing this black machine. And I'm thinking, what does this black machine do? So one day when I was 3 years old, I remembered crawling to the piano stool, and I pulled myself up on this stool, and I just played a scale that I heard them play every day, day in, day out. And the funniest thing was I got one of my sisters in trouble because my elder sister is very strict, and she heard, "What is this scale? What is it? Lorraine, what's wrong with you? You don't want to do your exams anymore. Why are you playing the scale so badly?" My other sister said, "But I was nowhere near the piano." And so they saw me, little baby. And then so they said, "Oh my goodness." So they ran to my mum and said, "Okay, mum, you know what? You better start her off so you can tell her off rather than us."
But yes, you must have picked it up very, very quickly, you know, in order for you to be, you know, compared to your sibling there and, you know, get them getting the blame.
I think it's basically repetition of like just every day, you know, like you hear the same thing day in, day out. And I guess, you know, as a little kid, you're going to be curious about what these little white keys do. And you find yourself, you know, like playing around and exploring whatever it is. So like a little playground. And so actually at that time, I just thought, well, it's a bit of fun until you have to practice. That's where the fun stopped.
That's right, and we're going to be talking about lessons and such like that you've learned there on various instruments a little bit later on. Now, for our listeners, just you know, finding your music, they may not know this, but you were actually born in Hong Kong and raised in San Francisco and received a British education. Yes. What was it like, the transition from Hong Kong to America and then on to Britain?
So Hong Kong was actually a very good training ground, I would say, because it was very, and still is, very cosmopolitan, and, you know, you see different, I would say, nationalities everywhere, and you don't really feel like you're in Hong Kong because Hong Kong is like a melting pot, you know?
Yeah.
So when I went to the States and my family, I was kind of like, okay, so there are just more Americans here.
Yes.
And then it was a very relaxed lifestyle because it was the Bay Area. much less, buzz and all of that, because we were more kind of by the water. So
Right.
I remember, this is very laid back. I can do this. And then my parents decided that, you can come for holiday, but you're not going to be studying here. For studying, they had other ideas, as parents normally do. So they said, for studying, we are going to send you straight to a convent school in England.
Oh my goodness gracious me!
Yes.
And what was that like?
Oh, it was a convent.
Be very strict.
Oh, yes. It was definitely very strict. I mean, I remember that we had our own days for the house that we are in, for going out to the village. So the village had a candy shop, a post office, and not much else, a pub, and not much else. And so we had 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock on a Tuesday to go out and post whatever it is, letters and, and get your candies if you like, get your candy fix. And then the rest of the time, nope, you're in the school. You are doing whatever it is that you need to do. And you have to make your bed and, very, very strict. And I think, I agree with them. At the time I was thinking, my goodness, like what are you thinking of, sending me to a convent school? But now in a way, I feel I'm very grateful because I made, very good friends in this, environment, because everybody is in the same boat. Everybody missed their family and we went through everything together. And so these are lifelong friendships that you form, So I miss that actually.
Yeah. And what was San Francisco like? Did you like there?
Yes, I enjoyed there as well, but because I didn't study there, so I feel, yes, in a way it's like home, but it's not so much like home like the UK or Hong Kong is.
Right, yes, because it was like more of a holiday. You would be going over to see your parents, or whatever, over in San Francisco there. I wonder why they chose San Francisco of all places, but
because of the weather.
The weather, right?
Yes. But actually it can also be cold. Okay, not as cold as England, but still it can be cold.
Yeah, it can be very, very cold, especially next to the Golden Gate Bridge there. Absolutely icy it can be.
Yes, exactly.
It can be a glorious day during the day, and then on an evening time you could walk down there early in the morning and you've got the breath.
Oh, yes.
The steam off your breath, it's that cold. Yes. I've seen it on movies. Never been there myself yet, but I would like to go.
Oh, I think you will enjoy it. But for a holiday, you would definitely, enjoy, because it's very laid back. You get to see so many things like Fisherman's Wharf and, all that. And it's very pretty. And I do miss going back. But I think, different time, different place,
Yes. So you've definitely seen the sights there, and you are now at the moment as well on a tour, which we'll talk about that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
Now, going back to when you were growing up, did you perform in any musical productions at school?
Oh, yes, many. Mainly it would be orchestra or choir, because I was in their Schola Cantorum. And so that's like, a lot of, choir performances in a lot of the cathedrals around the UK, in France, like the Chartres Cathedral and all that. And so there are many of these like spectacular sound from the choir, but the choir also worked with the orchestra, and our school choir for some reason always teamed up with the London Symphony Orchestra.
Wow, amazing.
It's the epic sound that I was so mesmerized by, and obviously as a kid as well, you're like watching the conductor and it's all these people and it's in the cathedral and the sound, it's like it's drowning you,
Exciting.
Yes, a lot of those, and a lot of the orchestra productions as well. Less on the musical side. We did a little bit, but mainly, choir and orchestra.
And it was mainly like classical kind of stuff?
Yes, classical, mostly classical stuff. Musical, it would just be for fun, but mainly classical.
Beautiful, yes, and those lovely surrounds as well in those wonderful cathedrals. Absolutely wonderful at the sound. And I wish I could have been there having a listen to it. I wonder if there's a recording of any of them anywhere, of these performances.
You know what? I'm sure there are. That's a good question because
it would be beautiful to be released,
yes,
and let the world hear. Because, especially with it being the Philharmonic Orchestra there, the London Philharmonic Orchestra there, and with yourself singing there in the choir there, it'll be a dream.
It actually would be because, I thank you for actually even suggesting that, because I never thought about it. But come to think of it, we did do a lot of those, and some of them were actually recorded, even with the BBC. And because it was conducted by Sir David Wilcox and,
right. Yes.
So we would have those recording, but I wonder, I am going to look it up. And I'll
look that up and then see if they can get it on a vinyl as well, because I bet it'll sound lovely, nice on a vinyl there.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
And just for the little tip there, it'd be nice to have a little copy there, the first copy.
Oh yes, I will. Yes. I will definitely
inspired by Phil Wilson.
Oh, absolutely. And I will have your autograph on it.
Oh, that would be excellent. That's excellent. Now, what did you inspire to be when you left education? Was it to be a singer?
Do you know, I never thought I would. No. Never, because I didn't even think it would be a possibility. Because I guess, when you're raised in a very sort of not even traditional, but just a typical Asian family, you know, even though my mom was a music teacher, gave me all the support she could, my dad would be, saying, nope, you are going to get a respectable job now, young lady,
yes.
and that would be it. And so I studied economics at Bristol University.
Right.
With the full idea of following what my dad wanted, which is you go into finance, banking, or something that is what he thought would make sure that, that it wouldn't be like a struggling artist,
Yes, yes.
So I didn't think that I would be in music. And I thought, okay, I've done all this training and whatever, but it's time to drop it. That's actually what I thought.
Yes.
But then my mom had a point, and she said, look, it seems to me that the opportunities keep coming your way from music. So why don't you just think about it, keep an open mind, finish your studies, and don't tell your dad that you've gone to explore these opportunities until you finish your studies.
Right.
And I said, good point, Mum. Thank you. Note taken. And then so I just kept doing it, as in I kept going from lectures in Bristol and taking the train every day to London, to the recording studio, and back and forth and back and forth. But, I loved it enough to say, you know what? I think it's worth a try. Let's give it a shot.
And it's nice that your mum was able to give you the support as well, rather than, sometimes families can go, oh, no, you have to do what your dad advises you to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
It's nice to have that bit of support there, so you can follow your dream as well as, do what they say, your fallback job, get that in the can as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I have to really thank my mum for a lot of, life's paths, I would say.
Yes.
Because I think she had been through it in a sense that she dropped her music.
Right.
And then she didn't regret it, but, because life happens. But she just knows that, when you love music this much, it's something that's in you. It's not something that you do. It's something that's just in you.
Yes.
So she realized that, and she wanted me to not feel that I'm going to work like it's a job. So, she was very happy if the opportunities came and, I could just not even call my job work, then that would be a blessing. So she was all about it.
Absolutely fantastic. And you've done very well as well. Now, some listeners that know you are a fabulous singer may not know this, but you are classically trained in playing the piano, violin, and also singing.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so ever since I crawled up the piano stool and, started the piano and then the violin, and oh my goodness, I played like basically chicken without head, because
Right.
the violin, that's how it sounds. You have to get
Yes.
over that hump and
Yeah.
practice all the time in order for it not to shriek and,
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
So I think as a kid, I really didn't like that because I just thought, oh my God, no matter what I do, this sound is not going to go. And I don't fancy having goosebumps every single day. But at the same time, because I was studying here, and it was very heavy on the choral part and also the choral training and also the orchestra training. So it actually inspired me in a different way and made me want to, learn to perfect it more,
Right.
and because of the environment, being in a convent school, what are you going to really do? So I found myself practicing all the time because that was almost therapeutic. Otherwise you'd be just really bored. So I just practice all the time. And of course, with practice, your sound becomes better, and so the three of them, it's like like a trinity of the piano, violin, and voice. It's almost like every day they accompany me, to keep almost kill the time until it's dinner time.
Yes.
And then as you get better, you really realize that actually, it's not that bad. I think, I'm making some nice sound. Okay, let's do more,
And what's your favorite instrument then? Would you say it is the violin?
Piano.
The piano, because that's where you began.
Yes, that's where I began. And also I feel that I don't need any accompaniment. With the violin, yes, you can play on your own, you can play in a sweet way, but it doesn't make any harmony. So
no, it doesn't. That's right. It's just all one kind of tone, as it were. Yes.
And it's more melody driven. And but with the piano, it depends on what mood you are in. If you're depressed, you play, obviously, bluesy chords. And then if you're happy, you play it in a way that is going to be maybe more major chords and things like that. And you can entertain and almost serenade yourself with the piano alone and play for hours or an end, like it's therapeutic. And also the sound of it, it's kind of soothing for me. So
that's right. Yes, you've got your dampening pedals there, depending on what you want and things like that.
Exactly.
And of course, it's more versatile as well because obviously a violin on its own is not the same when it's not part of an orchestra.
Exactly. So the magic comes when it is with like a quartet, or quintet, let alone a full orchestra where, it's a wall of sound, that's really hitting you. And that's, for me, it's like, it's like, I don't know, the word succulent comes to mind because it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, it's like a dollopy kind of sound when all the strings play together. With the piano, you pare it down and it can be very melancholy, kind of, you just on a rainy day, or I tend to do that actually when the weather is not that good. I tend to go on the piano a lot. And when it's sunny, I prefer to be out, and about doing something. So I think it's more versatile. And I don't have to even think about what am I going to play because I make up whatever it is as I go along. I improvise and see where the fingers take me almost. With the violin, I seldom improvise. I play more works, or stuff that I had written or, so it's a little bit of a different thing.
Yes, definitely a different kettle of fish, as they would say. Now, when did you first perform on stage?
When I was 4 or 5 years old, I think.
Right. Wow.
Yes. Because I think it was in a school. I'm trying to remember what productions, but I think it was in school. And I was on the piano, not the violin.
Right.
And because in a lot of what we do, there are lots of these music festival, speech festival, all over the place. And so when you take part in that, you basically have to just go on stage and do your thing. You can't shy away from it. And sometimes these things are taking place in a concert hall and you're wee little thing, walking on the stage.
Yes.
And it's very daunting.
Yes.
But it's just where the festivals are held, schools, music festivals, and, everybody is in the same boat. And I remember always very nervous because I'm thinking, oh my goodness, they're all so good. And, what am I going to do now? What if I forget my notes? I have to memorize the whole piece. And, all of that. Yeah. The training started very young.
I know, I bet it did as well. And where was the biggest venue that you performed at? Because myself, I actually sung as part of like a trio, and it was actually at a keyboard competition. It was a Yamaha showcase at the Birmingham Symphony Hall. And there was thousands of people there, and I was singing on there. And when you've just described there, walking on the stage and playing your piece, well, there was children and even adults all nervous together on the stage there. So I can quite understand what you went through there. So where's the biggest place that you've performed?
So it's different for piano and it's different for singing. On the piano, I was at the Hong Kong City Hall.
Right.
And so it was the largest concert venue at the time. Then I performed also at the Performing Arts, which is another like a city hall, but it's basically the Academy for Performing Arts.
Right.
And so it was about 1,200 seater kind of.
My goodness gracious me, amazing.
And it was more because it's a theatre, so it's more like your symphony hall, Birmingham Symphony Hall, that kind of feel.
Yes.
So it was quite a jump, I would say, from that kind of environment to then perform in a pop song. Where you're touring and, all of that. And I remembered I was performing at the Britannia Stadium. Where there were, I think, 50,000 people.
Wow, amazing.
I was just gobsmacked because, can you imagine from a classical, upbringing and all of that? Normally you perform, even orchestras perform in concert halls and, theaters and concert halls, not a stadium. So it's a completely different, you can't see the people in you don't see it's a sea of, people.
Yeah, sea of faces.
You can't really communicate, really direct, because you can't really see people in the eyes.
No.
Excuse me.
Yes, bless you. Bless you.
Thank you. You see, I should have taken my own advice of having some water next to me.
You should have, yes. And I've got my medicine here. I'll pass them over.
I wish I could reach over and grab your honey medication there.
There you go.
Thank you.
I'm going to do a cupful for you.
Thank you.
So performing at the 50,000 people in like a stadium, that would be a massive wow factor. My goodness.
Yes, because it was for an event. I can't really remember what it was. It was around the festival time, and I remember I was performing with 8 dancers at the time.
Right.
And obviously, from you alone on the piano on stage. To you and 8 dancers on stage in front of 50,000, that's something different.
Definitely.
So it was almost like, actually, you've just basically landed on another planet, speaking another language. It was like that. And I just felt, and because they were amazing, the audience was amazing, the crowd was cheering. And it doesn't matter what happened, we gave this very high energy show, and the crowd was roaring because of everybody was there just to have a good time, and you don't have that kind of buzz when you're performing in a concert hall because everybody sits down and everybody tends to be more in a way cultured, I would say.
They're quite subdued, aren't they? They're just looking.
Yes.
You know.
Or looking, or they clap in such a way that is like your very cultured clap.
Yes.
Kind of. And then you wish that you could tell them, something. You can actually stand up and,
That's right. Yes.
Jump around or something, which, the crowd at the Britannia Stadium wouldn't hesitate to do.
Oh, it's amazing amazing. I went to see Rumour and Kenny Thomas at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House in Newcastle upon Tyne, and it was the first gig I'd ever been to in a theatre where everybody was on their feet, dancing and everything. It was like amazing. So when you the next performance that you do in the theatre, you'll have to say, "Come on, get yourselves dancing."
Yes, exactly. You're right. Because even just the shows that we had just done in Ireland, a lot of them were standing.
Yes.
And in the UK, they're mainly sit down, the theatres.
Yes.
So we all felt the difference in energy because, you're bound to your seats, and you're not, especially when obviously we are support acts. And you're trying to introduce yourself, to share your stories, your songs with them. And even if they enjoy, because I can see some of them, like kind of dancing in their seats.
Yes.
They don't quite feel, that they're going to stand up and dance for you. Because other people are not doing that.
That's right. Yes.
So
yes, definitely should be encouraged because the atmosphere I was totally shocked, because it must be a kind of maybe a British thing where if you go to the theatre, you're going to sit down.
Yes.
If you stand up, everyone's going to look at you.
Yes.
But when it's if it's going to be like a musical performance, pop star, rock star on stage, you need to get into it,
Yes, exactly. It's a very different type of performance. That's why, and we're doing obviously pop shows, but to a sit down audience, you have to basically, so our job as support acts would be harder, to really like warm up the night, and
whip
get
them up,
going.
whip up the audience.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
One of my songs called, it's to be released like later, soon actually. It's called Melodrama. And every night I start with this song after the violin. And the first phrase is wake up, open your eyes. That's actually, so
That's
literally
great.
Every night I will go at the audience and wake up, open your eyes, listen up, like this. So that's why I chose it. And they would be looking at me like, oh, are you talking to us? Or are these lyrics tailor-made to us?
Yes. Oh, yes, a great cue for people to start partying.
Yes.
Definitely. Now, you've teamed up with rapper It's Divine and also producer Eddie Craig, one half of the electronic dance duo, the Wide Boys, who've worked with A-list pop stars such as Kylie Minogue. We've got Rihanna, Girls Aloud, and the Pussycat Dolls to bring the single Labyrinth of Life together. How did the collaboration come about, Qymira?
So Eddie Craig was obviously highly, recommended by company called Power Promotions. And basically I've worked with Tracy from, Power Promotions for a very long time. And so when all the songs, very fortunately had they were all climbing the charts. So 3 of them came out before Labyrinth. 2 came out. So there was Wait for No One and Give It to Me. So by the time Labyrinth came around, she told me, you know what, I need to introduce you to Eddie Craig because he would be perfect for Labyrinth of Life. So when I was working with Eddie Craig, it was fascinating because one of the things that when you're writing your own songs, you're always going to be a little bit apprehensive about a remixer stripping away your vocals and the essence of the song, because now it's going to go into a club feel. So I was really worried that that was going to happen. But I knew that because Tracy knew me or knows me very well, like what I do and instrumentation and all that. So, there is an unspoken understanding that no, whoever it is will not be doing that. So when Eddie Craig came on, to work on this, the first thing he noticed was there is a lot of orchestrations there. I don't want to strip away your voice. I want to keep the orchestrations, but this is actually what I'm going to go. And so he added the beats and the vibe to the existing orchestrations and my voice and created an entirely different soundscape to it. So, and basically gave the song a different mood than the original mix, which is more, in a way, more epic because it's got that, orchestra with it.
Yeah, it does sound amazing as well on the radio, and it's a big sound.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I hope that people are enjoying and also relating to the message of Labyrinth of Light.
Yeah, and we're gonna ask you about that in a moment from now. But what was it like writing and conducting the orchestra, which can be a bit of a complex task because it was with members of the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra?
Yes, that's right. So I always would love to have more time to write because I actually do not just compose the scores, but I actually write out all the orchestrations in a very old school way because I actually am a pen and paper girl. So even though I use iPads and stuff, but I prefer the inspiration going from wherever they are to the finger to the paper. So when I write all the orchestrations, it's a very long process because you not just that you compose it, but then you have to think about what will harmonize with the violins and the cellos and all of that to create, that mood and that vibe and to tug the heartstrings, all of that stuff. And it does take a while. But the problem is because as a pop artist, in a way, you also have so many other things, and it's never glamorous. Not glamorous that what people think, and we don't just appear on stage looking all glammed up and all that. So there are all these things that goes with that you have to do. So I found myself not having enough time, and I only had 1 week to actually come up with the orchestrations and write for 60 piece, including the brass, and a lot of the instruments you have to transpose for them. So it's from this key to that key, this key to that key. And it's very much of a math kind of coursework almost.
Yes.
Because, today we're doing trombone now. So, no, we're going to do viola. And so let's, see how we're going to transpose, and you can't rush the process. So I found myself being on the plane and writing, and I was just writing everywhere. And then right before the recording with the 60 piece, then I photocopied everything for everyone, to rehearse and all that. So this whole process had been so, in a way, organic, but very manually labor intensive. Like lots of, sleepless nights to actually do all of that. But when you stand in front of the 60 piece and you know what you've written, and then there's the hurdle of, oh my goodness, I hope I've got the bar numbers correct. Imagine if I wrote 1 to 10 here, but the other one starts actually a little bit later, and I go,
it would be
oh my
car
goodness,
crash.
it would be like car crash, exactly. So I'm holding my breath all the time. Oh my God, I hope that the bar numbers are correct. So when they play their first time and it's all completely on, harmony, everything all correct and not a single note wrong, which was a miracle in itself in 1 week.
Yes.
I just sat there. I actually stood there with my baton, and I actually didn't move. They were waiting for me to conduct. I was actually so mesmerized by their sound. And I realized, no, I need to conduct you. So let's go into it. And the more you go into it, the more it comes to life, because you know where the dynamics come in, how you lead them to come in and all that. And so that was and by the way, that was only a sit down, normal orchestra recording. But the latest one that I did for melodrama, also
Right.
had a lot of the orchestra members, which, by the way, they wanted to call Qymira Symphony Orchestra. And I just literally, I was floored. I was thinking, you want to be called something else? And then they explained to me the logic. They said, look, we work for a traditional orchestra,
Right.
so we normally play with the score and, everything, rehearse and perform, and that's it.
Yeah.
But because of what you had us do, so what I did was in the music video for Melodrama, I told them, is it okay, guys, if I were to ask you to play without the score?
Right.
And so they all
Amazing.
had to play, by memory and, by heart. And I said, don't, and they were very hesitant because obviously they're not used to that and they just got the music.
Yeah.
So I had to say, look, just trust in how I will lead you in, because I know where everybody comes in. So if I bring you in, it means you only have to remember the melody, and because it's very highly melody driven. So I just say, if I bring you in, it means first violins come in, and then basically you wait until I bring you, and you don't have to count the bars. But of course, I have to memorize everything. And on top of that, the challenge is, I said to them, look, it's a story where it's about actually how we are like robots and puppets being played by people. And so I said to them, orchestra normally they may be passionate, but normally they play like this. So I said, I need you to exaggerate that. So like you are playing like a robot, being told by whoever you are, the institutions, what you must do. And so you must come across like puppeteers. And they were thinking, okay, so wait a second. We don't just have to play by heart. We have to actually also play puppets, like, and they all cracked up. And then I said, do you think you can like give it a little try? But by the end of it, they had so much fun. They actually said to me, we don't want to play it any other way because we feel the music so much more.
Yes. So, and you were able to it's like you've been able to give them a little bit of, let them off the lead a little bit to, to do a bit of playing the part of the of the instruments and the puppets, as it were.
Yes, exactly. And I think because obviously stringed instruments, it's almost like puppets with the strings.
Yes.
So they actually go together, and I explained the concept and they understood it. And so they were really, playing like a bit like a puppet, and I was like a puppeteer, and it was really fun because it was more like a character driven kind of performance. And that's why they said, can we call ourselves something else other than members of the Philippine Philharmonic and Manila Philharmonic? Very long. So I asked them, what would you like to call yourself? And then they said, we'd like to call ourselves the Qymira Symphony Orchestra.
Amazing.
And
absolutely lovely.
I was speechless. I was like, what? Are you sure?
Yeah. So they'll be appearing on your next single. So we'll look forward to seeing that video as well. Now, what was it like getting all of the orchestra into the studio? Because there's a gentleman that I spoke to last year, and he had the Paris Symphony Orchestra, I think they are, and they were crammed into this studio, but the sound was absolutely amazing. So what was it like for you? Was it quite difficult, the logistics of getting all of the orchestra in and, mic'd up and such like?
Oh, yes, we did have those challenges. The greatest thing actually for me is that we had the ABS-CBN studios.
Right.
And so it's the biggest studios and, over in the Philippines.
Wow.
And it was massive. The studio can have hundreds and hundreds of, people in there. So a 60-piece, we had ample space. But here come the challenge is that the entire thing was supposed to be shot as well, because it belonged to a project that I was working on called Epic Euphony, which is about the world. And, it's, also about the children that I am working with through my foundation to try and help some children in need. So I had invited some children from the different provinces, and also like some are disabled, and it's all sorts of in need children.
Yes.
And so they came to join the orchestra. So it was a whole kind of like almost like a TV special that they had to tape. So we had, the tracks and everything, and, all of that. So visually, it needed to be stunning with the lighting and, all of that. So, of course, the sound and the mic and, all of that, it would kind of obstruct a little bit the view.
Yes. Yes.
So that's why we decided, let this particular thing be, the focus of, the whole thing, which is the visual side of it.
Yes.
But then what we're going to do is take another studio, go into it, and then we're going to double track everyone. So we basically take, say, 30 rather than 60, and we double track or triple track or, something like this.
Yes.
And we basically go, right, you know what? For this section, we're going to have very clean sound. Everybody have their, headset and the mic, and, everything is, completely mic'd up. But it was very squeezed. It was, a studio, and not, a studio as in a normal music studio, not a taping kind of studio like ABS CBN. Yeah. So the difference in the results that you're trying to look for, in the end product, because it's different. So that's the reason why, the whole process is different.
Yeah, especially when you're making something for television as well. Yes, it's all to do with the visual, like you say there. But yes, we'll look forward to hearing that single in the forthcoming months ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, now the lyrics paint a vivid picture, Labyrinth of Life, of individuals who are lost in a complex maze, trapped by falsehoods and facades. Please, can you tell us more about the message in the song?
Okay, so this song was inspired by my own personal experience at the time. And I was going through a tough time at the time because my mum was sick. And so I had given up everything pretty much, in music and the movies that I was cast in and all of that in LA, to go back to Hong Kong to take care of my mum. And I knew it was going to be a very involved situation, but she was getting ill. She was getting worse very quickly. And so I was basically day in, day out, like either in the hospital or, all that. But I couldn't tell my friends or share my experience with them because it was just too painful. And so I just decided, right, you know what, I just like tell people, that everything is fine, especially when you don't see, and they're not really your friends, and they ask, hey, so what's the next movie you're in, or, what's going on with your music and whatever. I wasn't even ready to actually accept that I had given up everything, and for example, I had the chance to be in a movie with Denzel Washington, Wesley Snipes, and all of that. But at the same time, I just basically said, like, no, my mum's like more important. So let's just, take care of her. So when I was going through that, I suddenly one day thought, you know what? You don't have to be so silly to go through this on your own or put up a brave face, because life happens. People will understand that. And for those that are going to criticize you and judge you because you're not doing what you set out to do, or now in any Hollywood movie or whatever it is, then they shouldn't be in your life anyway. So I decided to write this because, and that's why the lyrics, of we have our private face, but we always put our public face, game face, poker face on, to basically tell the world we're fine and but when we are not. When actually all we have to do is follow the signs and the symbols of even a smile from a stranger, or sharing, like, what we're doing now. Now we're having a chat,
Indeed.
And if I didn't have that, in a way, awakening moment of, you know what, you don't have to, put up this public face, probably will be having quite a different interview of me feeling like, you know what, I am on an interview now, and therefore I need to basically put up a game face or
that's right. You've got to be on your I know what you mean. Yes.
But actually, because I had gone through that journey and told myself, no, it doesn't matter what situations you're in, even if, like, of course, these live shows that we're doing on tour, there had been, for example, tech problems and, or my mic snapped and didn't work. And if I was putting on this face, it would always be like, you would be so tense, you'd be thinking, I need to be a showman and I need to basically come through, soldier on, and the audience must never tell that there is a problem.
That's,
When actually, you can actually tell the audience because they can see that it snapped and it flew out of your head and, all sorts. So every night I would just say, well, I didn't know that I was going to have to be doing some stand-up comedy here again tonight.
Yes.
And then, and they laugh with you because
they do.
And then it made the Labyrinth of Life song more meaningful because I was able to share, well, you see what just happened? That actually wasn't my public face. You saw the private face there.
It's great. And yes, it's nice to keep it real, as I like to say, because people can always see behind, sometimes people can see behind that facade as well, So, the message in the song is definitely coming over there, and it'll definitely ring true to a lot of people and bring them hope and enlightenment.
I hope so, because at the end of the day, everyone has a story to tell. We all have some sort of challenge somewhere that we're experiencing and we feel like we're juggling or we're feeling overwhelmed, because that's just life. Life throws all kinds of things at you. And,
of course it does.
And if we don't hold each other's hands in a way, and kind of like, for example, you might be feeling chesty today. Hey, I might be having some toe pain today, and I'm going to tell you.
Yes. Standing on the stage all that time for weeks and months.
Yes. So it's all about having a laugh and go through life together.
Definitely, yes. Holding hands together there, because we're all human at the end of the day, and we'll all go through the same thing, whether we're on television, radio, singing, whatever we're doing, we're all the same, or even there cleaning the toilets.
Exactly.
You're all going through the same thing, or if you're in a palace. But we'll not talk about that, because we don't want the liars afterward.
But do you know something? It's actually very true that sometimes when we feel, oh my gosh, this is a very daunting moment. For example, if you go, some people go to interviews. Oh, I'm having this interview now. Will I get the job? What am I going to do? And all of that. And of course, it's natural to be very nervous because you want it. The stakes are high. It's intense and you want it enough. But what I like to do at that moment is basically picture the interviewer going to the toilet.
Yes. And somebody said to me once that you could imagine whoever you're going to see is being a little frog sitting there on the chair, and you just, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it makes you a bit more up, you're a bit more relaxed.
Yes.
Because that person isn't actually all that scary after all.
Yes, exactly. It's because it's all in our minds. We paint all these pictures, I bet we all do it, right? Before I met you, of course, I was going to be wondering, I wonder what Phil is like, I wonder what kind of conversation.
Is he going to be that scary monster that everyone sees?
Do I need to turn him into a frog?
That's right. I like it. Great. I love that. Oh, great. Yes.
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to turn you into a frog anytime soon.
And you're not going to kiss us and make us into a prince.
That we don't know, because
We don't know.
we haven't turned you into a frog yet, so we won't find
No,
out yet.
that's right. Yes. Watch this space,
Yes,
listeners and viewers.
exactly. They must be thinking, "Oh my God! What are those two doing?"
I love it. Now, we're going to go on to a serious note, because there's something which is very, very important that you do. Now,
What is that?
additionally to your musical endeavours, you have been deeply committed to your fundraising work with the One Gaia Foundation, which is an organisation which you founded 3 years ago to support children in need. Please, can you tell us more about the foundation, which you talked about a little bit earlier, and how listeners can help this fabulous cause?
Thank you. I didn't wake up one day to basically say, right, let's just start a foundation now, because I just kind of felt, I think it was around the same time that I wrote Labyrinth of Life, and also around the same time that I came up, with the name Qymira. It's all around the same time, because it's all in a bit of a revelation, awakening moment. And I felt, you know what, no matter what I'm going through, I have been given a lot of chances and opportunities in life to express my passion, which is music, and all that. And whatever life throws at you, that's something. But I was indeed given the opportunities, and it made me so happy to be able to do something that I love so much. And then I started, because a lot of my friends are Filipinos, and they tell me their family, friends, and what's going on at home in the Philippines. And I hear all these stories, and I'm thinking, what do you mean that you've got all these children walking to school barefoot for 3 hours one way, so 6 hours every day, only to find the school in shambles because the roof had fallen down and cannot even open, and all sorts of stories. And also children who have cancer from the age of, say, 3 until 19, sleeping on the concrete floor because they have no mattresses.
Oh, my goodness. Right.
Yes. So all these stories, and I just, so then I started listening more and more, and I just go, right, is there anything that just me, not an organization, just me, what can I do? Can I give them some shoes? Can I give them some slippers? So I went to my piggy bank, and I thought, let's just see what my piggy bank can gather. And so it started from that. It started from bit by bit, like, maybe I can send them some school supplies and some slippers to start off with, so they don't have to walk to school barefoot. So I sent about like 3,000 slippers, for these children.
Wow, amazing.
And so for some reason, that word basically got out that, that they were having slippers, and because they're a very tight-knit community, and these schools are at the bottom of the hill that got basically struck by a lot of natural disasters.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
Unfortunately, the government cannot get there in time to help, everybody, just basically when they need it. So so I thought, well, okay, I don't know what I can do, but I can at least donate, the bare essentials.
Yes.
And, like even just toothpaste and, like these, daily essentials. And also then I tried to help, the mattresses and some of the medical supplies for the children with cancer. But these are in different regions in the Philippines, because my friends came from different regions. Yes. So they would, like, one would tell me this, the other one would tell me that. And I thought, well, they're all in the Philippines, and as I was calculating, I'm like, my goodness, you realize the slippers that I got, that's not even a lunch money for most of us, because of the standard of living over there and the standard of living over here, and, Hong Kong and places like that. So I said, well, why not? All it takes is basically, I don't have that kind of a lunch today. And, and maybe it can, so it grew that way. And so now I would say there are about 14 schools. I just basically, try to help them with their roofs and the essentials to, some schools don't have water at all.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
And I actually physically went there to visit them. And one
Right.
day I went there and I said, "Oh, may I use your toilet?" And they said, "You'd be able to use the toilet, but you won't be able to flush it, and you won't be able to wash your hands." And
Oh my goodness.
and they explained to me, and I was just completely gobsmacked that the entire school of thousands of children, no running water. So I thought, all right, what can I do? So I tried to help them with the water system. So at least, these are essential, because I kind of feel that, you know what, if they are hungry, if they are thirsty, if they don't have clean water or anything like that,
Sure.
how can they put their mind in anything else that they want to do? So
That's right.
That's why One Gaia is more like a process. First, you try to help them with the essentials for the different groups of in need. It might be children that are handicapped, or, that they are with terminal illness, or, they are poverty stricken, homeless children, all sorts of groups in need, because they need different support system. So I decided, right, you know what? I can go out to the homeless children. I initially did that online because of the pandemic.
Yes.
So all I did was I took my piano, put it on my desk, cut the Zoom, and I called the computer my window, and the kids would finish the chemo and come into the room and come up to the window, and I would say, "Hey, come up to the window, let's do something." And they would start drawing. So we would have drawing sessions.
Yes.
And they would draw whilst I play 2 hours of piano as background music to them drawing. And then they would come up and say, "Oh, we just finished chemo. My hands are a bit tired." So they started dancing. So I said, "Oh, do what you want, It's not a classroom, You can dance, you can chat with me, or you can sing, or you can draw." And so it came to me that, something, it's very simple. If you want to make them happy, give them something that they are happy to do. And actually, it's very simple too. It's just what they love to do. Some people like to dance. Some people want to draw. Some people want to sing. And it's all arts. But one thing is in common. It's that when you don't have language, because I don't speak Tagalog, and they speak English, but at the same time, it's a universal language of arts and singing and dancing and sports that tie us all together. So that's why, I decided, right, I'm going to try and help you with the essential needs. And then from there, let's try and have some initiatives for you. And so I asked the children that are drawing who have cancer, I said, don't ask me when you're going to die, because they were literally asking me, my real name is Leslie. So they will say, "Miss Leslie, how long do you think I have? Do you think I'm going to die? So-and-so over there." And I would it would drive me to tears because of their questions.
I bet.
So I would say, I said, "Look, guys, you know what? You're going to be with me and we're going to draw. I want you to draw, your superhero." And I would read to them. So the session starts with me reading, and then I would ask them, draw whatever character you can think of from the book, like superhero, Super Yasmin, or something like this. Who's your superhero? And then I would play the piano, and then I would collect their drawing, and I would make them into a canvas bag with their drawing.
Wow. Oh, that's lovely.
And then as I sell them, all the proceeds go back into their community, and I give the bags to them, and yes, of course, it funds the community, more mattresses, more whatever. I built, some more housing for them. But at the same time, what's most important to these little kids is that they feel, "Oh, look, I'm little designer. I'm a fashion designer. Look, I designed this bag. I do this." And they literally say that to their parents, who are in tears by this time, because, that's the last legacy that they leave behind. And it actually brings me to tears too, just talking about it, because because I was there and I see what they go through, and because I was also there on the streets with the homeless, And when I give these backs, these canvas backs to these kids, and I tell them, hey, you know what? You've got little angels in Cebu on the other side of you, in your country, you know, and they have drawn these backs for you. So you've got your angel with you, you know, every day, and you're not alone. And I then tell the ones who have cancer, do you know something? The back that you've just drawn, actually, it's now with, you know, Cynthia on the other side, you know, in the, you know, Binondo children, you know, on the other side. She has your back. So you also have your little angel on the other side. So I try to do these exchanges, you know, so that they know that they're not alone. And also to make them know that they're not discarded and written off, that they are just like any one of us, actually much more so, because the majority of the world are people in need, not the minority. But the minority of the world gets so wrapped up in our world that we call the majority minority. And that's really the world upside down. And I don't want these children growing up feeling, you know, that, well, you know what, nobody wants us. And so then they turn into, you know, people that are insecure. And so I do the same with Brazil and Hong Kong, Jamaica, and the Philippines, to basically go, you know, not just in your country, you know, they may not even speak your language in Brazil, but they also have your backs. They also have this. And you are actually being warned by, you know, them. And so I did the singing contest, the dancing contest, or the drawing, and all of, and also the sports stuff, so that, you know, whatever passion you have, there is something for everyone. So I just hope that the world can be a little bit working together rather than against each other. That's actually just my only dream.
Well, you are an inspiration to us all, and I must tell you, Qymira, that this is something that really needs to be rolled out. Your method and also your project around the world, because you know, it's tried and tested, as you've told us all there. So yes, everybody get yourself over supporting the Gaia Foundation, and if you can, make a donation there. And when you mentioned about when you are communicating with the children through the screen, you know, and you are there for them, it actually, you know, fills me as well.
Oh, thank you.
Chokes me up as well, because it's such a wonderful thing to do, and it is something that needs to be, you know, everybody needs hope, and that's what you're giving to these needy children. So everybody that's watching and listening, please, One Gaia Foundation, if you get over to the website, if you have fun there, if you give us that, then people can show their support.
Sure, thank you. It's called, so the website is onegaia.org. So it's just ONEGAIA.org, O-R-G. And on there are all sorts of videos, what had been done, you know, children in the hospital in Brazil, in the favelas, because, you know, we are all product of our environment. Children in the Philippines are different from children in the favelas in Brazil. But because I had been lucky enough to be working in different places and be soaking up their culture, so I'm listening to them and like talking to the Brazilian kids. No way are they going to join a singing contest that's like pageantry. But for them, the rapping and all of that in the favela would work for them, and it inspires them. It fuels them. So, you know, there is something for everyone, and it's not like a formula that fits everyone. But if we have the patience to listen to each other and to just basically go, you know what, I am not I, as in any professional that's out there, you can just give a bit of your time, you know, even if it's not donation, it's about donating your time to be a mentor for some of these children, and basically go, you know, I'm an art teacher, or I'm a, you know, whatever sports, I'm working with football coaches as well, you know. And also, it's not just about giving the chances and opportunities to the children that are in need. It's also about educating our children in the first world a different way. So because most of the time our children are much more entitled, so they feel, well, of course, what do you mean? Everybody has an iPhone. If you are playing football, of course you would have your kit, and of course you would have turf, and of course they won't understand what it means by playing barefoot, not on turf but concrete grounds with deflated balls. You can't really even kick around.
No.
Now the playing ground is not leveled, so our first world children, I would love for them to, that's where I need help, because to be honest, at the moment, it's really just me, going around, everywhere. And if there are people who could even, like, for example, bring school children to, for example, Philippines, to do a friendly match, with the ones over there, and have our children coach them, because that will empower them here, because they have been given the benefit of excellent first grade coaching, for example, in the UK. And so give them the responsibility when they go to the Philippines. They are ones that are completely oblivious to any coaching, anything. If you then say, hey, we've been taught this over there in England or Hong Kong or wherever you are, so let's do a friendly, but these are the tips we would give you, and let's play on your grounds. And how would it feel to play basically in your conditions? And likewise, we bring you over to our places, and you also experience. So it's kind of like leveling up a little bit, the not even the playing field, but more the experience, so that they come home, the ones that are from here come home and go, my goodness, what do we have every day? And start to be a bit more grateful,
That's right. And appreciate what you've got, and think about what people haven't got in other parts of the world. It is a fabulous idea there, and anybody who is listening or watching this video on YouTube, if you're able to get in touch with us, maybe put some comments or whatever through to us, then we can get things moving along with that. But I think people need to be educated more, and with your method, that could be rolled out into everybody around the world, and they could adapt it to their own needs of, their own culture or whatever in their world. So, but it's a wonderful foundation that you've established there, Qymira. And
thank you so much, Phil.
Definitely an inspiration to us all. So, One Gaia Foundation, get yourself over there, and if anybody there is able to organise, maybe a football match or something, please get in touch with the One Gaia Foundation.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Good luck with that, and I know that it has already been a success, and you are a star, absolutely amazing. I'm so humbled by you.
Oh, no, please. Thank you so much, Phil, for, even sitting here and asking me about it, because I'm not very good at promoting, whatever it is that I have done, because I feel that most of the time and energy, it's already spent on the field, on the work, and I'm terrible with social media. I'm very, very bad at posting.
A lot of people I have really, but you've done really, really well there, and I know that things will start happening there for that foundation. Now,
hopefully.
Back to the music. And you've actually been supporting Boys Life on their UK tour with an old friend of the show, Esme. How has the tour been going?
It has been fabulous. It has actually been so much fun, because it's a very tight-knit, family atmosphere. So Boys Life, the boys, and the band themselves, the team behind Boys Life, and Esme's team, our team. And so, it's like every day when we go to a new theatre, we're all in the same boat, from sound check all the way to the show. And so we know already, for example, what we're going to be dealing with. Is the acoustics of this theater like this, or is the sound check going to be what kind of, situations are we dealing with? And, all of that. And we're facing the same crowd as in the audience. And so, for example, Esme and myself, we're both support acts. And, it's been great to, always chat together and kind of go, wow, how did you feel today? How were they? Did you also go through this? And, all of that. I remember the very first show the first time I met Esme, I was actually, behind backstage, waiting for her. She had just finished her set. Waiting for her to come on, and we had not been properly introduced or anything, but it was the first show in Belfast. And she came out backstage. There was a door, and I was waiting for my moment to go on with my violin, but I didn't know who I should, be talking to at that point. And Esme came on and, just basically said, oh, they are great outside and, all that. And then she said to me, but you know what? Don't use the in-ears. It's not working well. So,
oh no.
So it's basically a situation of we help each other out because we know whoever comes first can tell the other person whether there is going to be a situation. If there's any
technical problems or whatever. Yeah.
And so, we make the entire night, more successful or stronger because the same thing with Boys Live. If they bump into any one of us, they're going to say, hey, how's the crowd outside? And we may joke. Like I sometimes joke, when I'm actually on stage and I will say, I know you guys are not here for me. You're here for Boys Live. And,
That's great. And I bet you they go crazy. Yay!
Yes, exactly.
Excellent. Do you ever say, well, the first 3 rows, they're a bit quiet,
Yes, exactly. And you can actually absolutely say that.
That's right.
And sometimes, I might say something like, I think you go all the way up there. So, and then I would just go, right, I need sunnies tonight, I think,
Yes,
things like that. And then, of course, they don't know you, but, you're just there to basically almost like you're making friends, because you're sharing yourself, your stories, your personality. And even as the night goes, whatever goes wrong, they can see. Like one time, my violin didn't go on. They couldn't hear my violin.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And at the same time, my headset broke. And so they had to give me the handheld mic. So everything was in between. I said, that's the joy of live shows, guys. When you come, you never know what you're going to get.
Exactly. That's entertainment, as it were. Yes. Definitely entertainment. Now, are you coming to the Glass House in Gateshead?
Yes. I believe that's on the 27th or 28th of Feb.
Wow. Yes. Oh, well, that would be great. Yes. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to come along there if there's any, little tickets going there.
Oh, for sure. If you would like to come, I would
wink,
definitely.
Wink, nudge, nudge.
Yes,
that'll be excellent. So yes, get yourself over to it's the Glass House in Gateshead. That's their website. So if you get yourself over there, and we will put links, of course, to where you can get tickets as well on there as well. Now, where can listeners follow you, Qymira, and buy your music?
So you can listen to my music, do all that on all the major digital platforms like Spotify and Apple Music and, all the likes. And then if you want to follow some crazy stories, then you can go on at Qymira Official on Instagram and YouTube. There are all kinds of, we're up to no good all the time. So,
all right. Certainly keep you entertained.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So these are the best places to find me.
Excellent. And of course, get yourself over to the Boys Life website where you can buy tickets for all of the shows, because it's been going on since before Christmas 2024, and it's going on all the way through 2025 as well. There are lots of dates there, so get yourself along there and show your support. Now, on a different note, here's a question for you. If you had a record player beside you, what record would you play me, and which is your favourite song? If you're able to put the needle on the record and play me a song now.
Right now, my favourite is We Pray by Coldplay.
Wow. Lovely, lovely. Yes. So that's what you would put the needle on?
Yes. The reason why is because not just the melody is captivating for me, but also the message and how they're going about it. You know, it's, for me, this is a little bit like One Gaia, you know, you invite the different culture, and at the end of the day, we're just all praying together. We pray. But I think it's how, when the message is merged with the melody and how it's being performed, it becomes such a powerful song that, you know, I found myself listening to it over and over and over again.
Yeah, an excellent choice there. What was the first record that you ever bought?
You would never believe this. Actually, my brother came home because he was in a school. I was in a convent school, and he was in a school run by Jesuit priests. So yes, up in near Manchester, actually. And so he came home one day and he said, "Look what I found!" And he actually brought home Wilson Phillips.
Was it Hold On? Was it?
It was Hold On and Release Me, and you know, all of those. And I remember being struck by the harmony of this group. Yeah. And I was thinking, wow. And I was so uplifted because it was like almost like angels singing, but you know, it's a pop song. And so I remember from there on, it was Wilson Phillips and Mariah Carey.
Wow.
And it's funny how you remember, and Belinda Carlisle.
Yes. Yeah. That'll have been about 1990, was it, or 91?
Yes, around that time.
Something around that time, yes. I've got them in my collection somewhere here. I'm a fan of all of them. So they were great choices there.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
What would you go with from Mariah Carey? What song would you go for?
I remember Vision of Love and Hero.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, they're great choices, them. I love them. Yes, all from our debut album there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I just felt like there are lots of classics that are on that album. Yeah. And I remember also, you know, at the same time, it was Paula Abdul. And, you know, it's just all around that same time when I sort of discovered pop music, you know, and because my brother was bringing home, you know, all these things, and, you know, and I was just like, oh, let me listen, because most of the time I was brought up like more in the classical side. So, you know, so it's a completely different world from the world of like Mozart and Beethoven and things like that. So for me, it's like, oh, I'm like a kid in a candy shop, you know.
Exactly. Yes, with all the vinyl there. But yes, the vinyl revival is here, and long may it stay.
Yes.
Excellent. You'll have to start building up your collection there, Qymira.
You are right. I love it. Excellent. I just love the sound of it too. It's nothing like it.
On your next tour, if you have any time off, you'll have to try and get to a record store and try and buy a record from each place that you go to, and maybe find something odd, like maybe if you go to Scotland, you could buy some kind of Scottish music, or you can buy some Irish music, or you can buy Welsh music, or whatever, you know. You know, or a bit of Chaz and Dave there when you're down in London.
You are right. I should actually have a bit of a collection. You're right.
You should. For every city, get a bit of Oasis from Manchester there.
Yes, yes. Okay,
So there you go
take
then.
your advice.
Well, you're not going to believe this, Qymira, but we've run out of time. So it just leaves me to say thank you so much for joining me on the show. And if you can stick around afterwards and we'll have a little chat. But it just leaves me to say thank you so much for joining me. All the best with the One Gaia Foundation and also with your tour with Boys Life. May it continue to be a massive success. And finally, please could you introduce your latest single, Labyrinth of Life?
All right. Thank you so much, Phil, first of all, for having me on there. I am Qymira, and you are listening to Labyrinth of Life.
That's fabulous stuff there, Qymira. All the best, and thank you so much for joining me. And would you like to come on the show again? Have I frightened you away?
Have I turned you into a frog?
Ribbit.
There's your answer.
There you go.
If your skin is not green, then yes, I'm coming back on.
Excellent. Yes. Ribbit. Yes, hopefully I'll not be catching flies. But thank you so much there, Qymira. And we'll speak to you soon. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Phil. It's been such an amazing chat. Thank you.